Hey, what's up, family? Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to you, wherever you are. So I'm going to give you an idea of where I am.
In 1,000 feet, at the traffic circle, take the second exit onto West 39th Street.
I'm going to do a parody video of that, because I know I'm not the only person that happens to. Where your GPS just comes out of nowhere and it's like, will you fucking turn now on 9th Street? You're like, Dorothy Chandler, thank you so much for hanging out. How are you today? I hope that you all are okay. Friday evening. And so I'm on my way, as many of you probably would be able to guess at this point, because of the ratio of when you see me going live with this kind of experience. I'm actually on my way to a street serenade. Tonight's street serenade is in Westminster, Maryland, 21157. And so I'm going to be at King Park tonight. You know, I realized not every park has an address, because I was looking for the address to King Park, and Google was like, there is no address. It's just King Park, Westminster.
In 600 feet, at the traffic circle, take the second exit onto West 39th Street.
So in 600 feet at the traffic circle, I'll be taking the next right onto 39th Street. So, you know, speaking of Google, speaking of the devil called Google, funny thing happened the other day.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto West University Parkway.
I typed in the word apologetically on Google, and for some reason, Google didn't Google the word. Google had not Googled the word apologetically, so I spelled it right, and Google didn't know how to spell it.
Turn right onto West University Parkway.
And so I was like, if you all saw my video the other day, in the video I said, the hell is going on with Google? Like I Googled it myself, so this is how to spell it. But for some reason, Google in my email was acting crazy. So anyway. You know, one other funny thing about Google that I think about is, I remember the first time we started saying the word Google, and I was like, how weird does this sound? You couldn't tell me that several years later, we'd be all sounding like babies. Google, did you Google it? Google. You couldn't tell me that. But for those that don't know, Google is actually a number. I think it's a 1 with 100 zeros, maybe. I learned about this at some point back in the school days. Hello, Jacoby Henderson says, my homie, you are dangerous on those keys. Man, I appreciate you, brother. You just became my favorite person this week. Thank you, brother. It really means a lot, man.
In 1,000 feet, use the left lane to merge onto Roland Avenue.
This guy came up to us the other day when we were at Lake Montebello, and I was there with Fruition. Guy came up and was like, hey man, let me ask you a question. So when a person approaches you like that, like with that voice, like, hey man, let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? You know, that guy usually is the guy that's about to talk your ear off for the next 3 hours about how he played drums
in 800 feet, sharp left onto West Cold Spring Lane.
The Temptations, the Crusaders, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Rihanna.
Sharp left onto West Cold Spring Lane.
Before Rihanna was Rihanna. That's that dude. Man, when I tell you why I used to... You know him too, because he the first one come up to you after the gig and he's not really looking
Continue on
at
West
you.
Cold Spring Lane for half a mile.
This dude is not. I saw some laughs there. So you must be that dude, or you know that dude. That's your uncle. That's your uncle. He come up to you after the gig, and the way that you know you're about to get had, like he's about to talk your damn ear off, is that when he's coming up to you, he's not really looking at you. He's looking at the instrument the whole time while he's walking up to you. He's not even looking at you. So you already know, like, and first thing he asks, hey man, what kind of snare is that right there? You're like, well, I just use a Blackberry. Oh, that's... So then at that point, he's either going to go one of three ways, and this is how you know where this conversation is going to go. Either he's going to be the I'm not impressed guy, because I got to one-up you. Oh, Black Pearl. Well, man, shit, I used to play. I played 2 Black Pearl. You only play Black Pearl? You should play White Diamonds,
100
man.
feet, use the right lane to take the I-83 North ramp.
You should play White Diamonds. Because, even when you think about Prince, he put it, he said diamonds and pearl. He put diamond first because diamond's superior, man. You still playing it, okay. Or he's the dude that's like, oh, wow, I've never seen it before. Can I sit down and play?
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-83 North.
These are the funny stories we definitely have at gigs. It's always that dude, though. It's always the one. It's like he didn't get enough accolades for when he was playing. So he's still trying to get them after the fact. So he's like, yeah, man. I used to play for the Temptationers. I used to play for the Invitationers.
Continue on I-83 North for 4 miles.
Then you got the ones that just lie. Just loud ass. Hey, man, you played for the man, I used to play for the Temptations, but I played for the Invitations. They was the one that ain't nobody know about them. The Invitations. He always got that voice. Yeah, man, I played for the Invitations. So yeah, if you're that dude or if that's your uncle, just tell him I said hello. That's all. If that's your uncle, if that's you, hey. The fun of being a musician is always one. I tell you, so I'm headed out to Westminster right now. Again, 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. Come hang with me. I'll be at King Park tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. And so, speaking of the person coming up to you who is a musician as well, the last time I was here in Westminster, one of the pleasures, and you could actually see it in the video if you look at my live stream. You could actually search it in the Facebook timeline. Just type in Aaron Hill Westminster, and you'll see the last serenade that I did there. There was a woman that came up, and it was the sweetest thing ever. And she was like standing like in front of the piano, just like in awe. And then she asked me a question. I did hear what she was saying. What she said. And so when she repeated it, she said, can I just come and, behind you and just watch your hands, just watch you play, and it was really an honor. It was like, wow, when somebody appreciates what you do like that. So I was like, sure, and I asked, I said, are you a musician? She said, yeah, I'm a pianist. And I could already tell because of her appreciation, in that moment, like, yeah, she was really a kind person. There was nothing better for me than to be able to express in a way where somebody else could really, really appreciate it. And so she was just like, wow, your touch is amazing. And then I did like some kind of arpeggio, and she was just like, oh, nice. And it was just a really cool moment. So you do have your cool moments when people come up to you, but then you have those like, boy, I cannot pack up fast enough. Yeah, man, because I used to play for Corey, and I used to play for James, and I used to, man, I was the one that, started, I was the first one to play with the snare that you got, Yeah, they just never gave me credit. Oh, gosh. I had a guy that came up to me. I study personalities. This is why it's so fascinating to me, because behavior and psychology is fascinating to me. So there was another guy that came up to me when I was at my North Avenue Street Serenade down at Nancy. And there was a guy that came up, and I could tell he was a musician because he sat on the ground and watched the whole set, and he happened to be a homeless musician. And so, he came, he really just touched me with his words of appreciation. But then he went into this mode of like, a mode that I've been studying recently. We're studying psychology, where I was just like, wow, I really see what your shit is.
Use the middle lane to continue on Jones Falls Expressway.
Yeah. So what he did was he started kind of going into this, like, when I asked him his name, he mentioned his name, and then he was like something like the greatest or the something that was like a pat on his own back.
Use the middle lane to continue on Jones Falls Expressway. Then take the I-695 West exit.
So I was like, okay, oh, we're supposed to go that way. I went the wrong way, people. Don't you hate when your GPS is like
in a quarter mile,
telling you something and you're like, wait a minute,
East.
this actually makes no sense, and the GPS is like, my bad. Not. I don't know if y'all remember one of the early GPS commercials that came out, where there was a guy.
Continue on I-695 East for 1.5 miles.
There was a guy
There's a 5-minute slowdown on I-695
who was
East and
he was driving in his car, and the GPS
route.
system the GPS system was telling him where to go, but it was like, and I can't even remember what the point of this commercial was, but the GPS was telling him like too late. So at one point he was driving and it was like, make a right turn or something like that, and he turned and crashed into this like building. It was like in 600 feet or something like that. It was like crazy. If y'all can find that commercial, please send that to me. But yeah, so sometimes you have those good experience, but then you got those people where you just like, then they get the lying. Oh man. So it's funny because I remember when I wasn't this guy, but I did something really funny that's in this vein. When I was in high school, I had just gotten out of high school, and there was like this rap group there that was real popular, and I was in my own group too. And so I met who would later be my good friend, Hassan Thomas. In fact, I'm going to tag him in this video. And he was in that group, but I didn't know it. So he asked me that I rap. I was like, yeah, we found out each other rapped and whatever, and we were talking about it. And we were trying to figure out who we knew. So I mentioned like some people that I knew. I think I may have mentioned some people that I knew that was like in his group. And I was just like going down a list of some people that I knew, and then some people that I heard like were just the people I knew. Oh my gosh. And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know that. And he was like, man, I'm in that group. Like, you're not with them. Like, you don't, you're not a part of that group. I'm actually in the group. So I guess we got all of us have a little bit of exaggeration in us at the wrong damn time when somebody else is looking at us like, is this fool crazy? Are you for real right now? So anywho, I am out at King Park, Westminster tonight, people, 6 to 8 p.m. and it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this serenade. The last time I was there, we had a great time. Hello, Westminster. Those that are watching this, I'm glad to be with you all again. And so, yeah. So I hope that you all are well. Karen said, you are silly. Yeah, Karen.
In 1,000
I tell everybody.
25 from Maryland 139 North, Charles Street.
I tell everybody that, people that know me as a musician, I tell them, I'm like, I am a full-time musician, even more full-time
Use the left lane to turn left onto Maryland 139 North, North Charles Street.
So when I take this left onto 139 North Charles Street, yeah, I'm a fool. And I enjoy it. You know.
Use the left lane to turn left onto Maryland 139 North, North Charles Street.
The one thing I'm happy about now, Karen, is that, you know, I talk about vulnerability all the time, you know, and it's for the reason that I think it's one of the most powerful things that we have when we realize that there's power in it, you know, when we realize that it can come with some fearful feelings and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, to be transparent and honest is actually empowering, because of the fact that
600 feet, use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto the ramp to I-83 North.
you realize that it's...
Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto the ramp to I-83 North, then merge onto I-695 West.
You realize that, you know, being yourself is the scariest thing for many people to do.
I-695 West.
But it's the most liberating.
Merge onto I-695 West.
It's the most liberating, and you realize that other people's judgment makes no difference at the end of the day, because of the fact that it's a lot of things.
Continue
Number
on
one,
I-695 West for 7 miles.
nobody else walks in your shoes but you. Nobody can take care of you but you. At the end of the day, people have their other shit that they're dealing with, so really people, they really don't have time. Like, they might judge you off the bat, but they aren't thinking about you or your life 2 seconds later because they got their own shit. So it's not even worth allowing people's judgment to get to you in your vulnerable place or in your transparency, in just being yourself. And that's what I mean by being vulnerable. I mean, like, just being yourself and not being, like, exposing yourself in a way where people can see you for who you really are. And yes, it comes with judgment too, but fuck people. Like, that's just it. Because at the end of the day, and at the end of life, you realize that, like, nobody else's thoughts or opinions about you actually matter. In the end, the only thing that matters is that you lived out the fullest quality of life that you could, and you were as happy as you could be, and that you honored yourself, and that you you didn't do things just to please other people. You know, just all the things we aspire to on a daily basis as far as the highest quality of life. You know, so yeah, I enjoy being vulnerable. And I put up a post the other day talking about it. And just sharing how we have the power to make vulnerability fun. So, yeah, I enjoy being vulnerable. And, you know, and this is advice for anybody who struggles with it. Repetitions, all about the reps. You just have to take one step forward, and then you'll realize, like, every time you take that step, then you realize, like, yes, you get a little bit more courageous. You realize you have a little bit less fear, because you realize the things that you're all in your head about, at the end of the day, they don't matter. And you miss out on life with worrying about people's judgment, you know. So yes. All right, people. I think I'm gonna get a bit of quiet time and meditation in for the last part of my drive before this serenade, to do as I always do. Have my ritual. Vape, meditate, medicate. And not always in that order. All right, peoples. Hope you have a great one. Hope to see you tonight. And if I don't see you live or in person, please, by all means, don't forget to live stream with me. I'll be going live at about 6:15. See you guys in a few. Peace.